the 2026 Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. So we'll compare this with the regular V6 gas-powered Hyundai Palisade. The silver trim around the window switches. The total output of this hybrid engine is 330 horsepower and 339 pound-feet of torque. 1.65 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery. The torque is evenly spread between like 1800 and 4500 RPMs. Hi everyone and welcome to my channel Roman Rides, and today finally we have been waiting so long. This is the 2026 Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. So we'll compare this with the regular V6 gas-powered Hyundai Palisade, which I featured on my channel a few times before, and obviously we'll compare the technical specs, we'll compare how it drives, whether is it worth to actually pay more for the hybrid versus non-hybrid model. All right, 2026 Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. Finally, they started to arrive to local dealerships, so you may want to check your local dealership on their inventory if they're available. Again, huge thanks to Courtesy Hyundai here in Tampa Bay area for allowing me to take a look at this vehicle, obviously take it for a drive. And I think it makes total sense to get started right off the bat from the engine specs. So this is the engine bay, and obviously you don't see a V6 here anymore. That's because Hyundai replaced the V6 with the 2.5 four-cylinder, obviously located transversely because there's a front-wheel drive platform. So it's 2.5. It's a direct injection, unlike the direct and port injection in the V6 model. As you can see, the engine has just kicked in because the car is on. So this is 2.5 four-cylinder, not the V6 3.5. The total output of this hybrid engine is 330 horsepower and 339 pound-feet of torque, which is 460 newton-meters of torque. So 0 to 60 should be maybe 1 second, 1.5, maybe 2 seconds quicker. Obviously, we'll do 0 to 60, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour to be precise. We'll see how it drives and how it compares with the V6 gas-powered Hyundai Palisade. What you also need to know is that obviously it gives you better fuel economy compared to V6, and it's got more torque, and the torque is available in a wider range, obviously. Unlike the V6, which you have to rev up all the way up to get more power, to get max torque and max power, you don't have to do that here in the hybrid, because the hybrid has the max torque, which is 339 pound-feet of torque, available between 1800 and 4500 RPM range, which is great. So the vehicle will be peppier, will be readily available to get go. And from the start, you need to pass someone, overtake on the highway, definitely it is a better option because the responsiveness here is much better. At least it should be better in the theory. We'll check that obviously in a few minutes in the driving portion of this video. Aside from that, it also features 1.65 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery located under the second and third seats, obviously on the floor. And so it actually powers the 2 electric motors, because this engine is paired with 6-speed automatic transmission. So the 2 electric motors located in the 6-speed automatic transmission housing actually provides you with the better fuel economy. So on lower speeds, you can experience electric only propulsion without the internal combustion engine. And this is a very similar setup to other hybrid vehicles, where Hyundai and Kia, they made it 1.6 turbocharged from Santa Fe, from Tucson, with 6-speed automatic instead of 8-speed. So big difference, 6-speed versus 8-speed in V6. And again, it can be front-wheel drive like ours, or it can be all-wheel drive H-Track with optional all-wheel drive. So this is like the engine setup is quite different, and it's not like a Toyota hybrid. With Toyota hybrid, you have a so-called eCVT, a power split device. Actually, there is no conventional transmission. It's very unique, very sophisticated, at the same time very simple setup, which Toyota has been honing on since 1997 from the first generation Toyota Prius. But here we have a classic conventional 6-speed mated with 2 electric motors mated with 2.5 four-cylinder direct injection gas engine. So it should be more powerful, should be more responsive. We'll take a look, and obviously the better fuel economy. So the gas-powered V6 Palisade gets around 21, 20, 22 maybe miles per gallon, while the front-wheel drive Calligraphy Hybrid gets you 31 combined, 31 city, 32 highway for the front-wheel drive, and around 28, 29, 30 for all-wheel drive. In terms of ground clearance, it stayed the same, 7.4 inches. And in terms of suspension, after test driving this vehicle, I've already driven that. My suspicion they revised the spring rates and the shocks probably, because it feels a bit different compared to V6 Hyundai Palisade. So let's close up the hood. Overall look of this vehicle, obviously it's no different from the regular Palisade V6. This is the top trim Calligraphy model. That's why it comes with 20-inch alloy wheels wrapped in 265 by 45 Pirelli Scorpion tires. And in terms of suspension, regular McPherson struts up front. In back we have a multi-link suspension. Obviously it can be had with optional all-wheel drive, as I mentioned before. In terms of all the exterior options, the only difference here is that you see the hybrid badge on the tailgate, and that's about it. A few more silver-like garnishes here and there, and body painted our wheel arches, so we don't see unpainted plastic like in lower models. And aside from that, basically that's about it. You see the roof rails, and there are no crossbars, and everything else is basically the same as a regular non-hybrid Calligraphy. You see active thermal management, so the shutters, they shut and they get open for a better thermal management, as I mentioned before. We don't have keyless access for the rear doors, only front doors, and so your door seals get covered by the doors, obviously, which is nice, so you are not risking of making your trousers dirty. And the first thing I noticed here on the inside of the Calligraphy Palisade Hybrid Calligraphy, the silver trim around the window switches. As you can see, all the buttons and all the switchware here, it is silver, unlike the black one which I saw in the gas powered V6 Calligraphy last time. Same for 2 memory positions. It's got a massage function for the driver's seat only, and a lot of extra configurations for the seat configuration here. So it can be like your ottoman, so you can recline all the way back, you can recline all the way to the front, additional under thigh support. It's ventilated, heated, it is Napa leather with calligraphy stitching here, and yeah, a lot of options. Wireless Apple phone charger, fully digital gauge cluster and everything like that. I already showed that in great detail in my previous video, so feel free to watch that videos. For the rear doors we have, for the rear passenger should I say, we have sunshades, and we have 2 different materials. Here we have like mesh-like, denim-like style, the upholstery of the door card, obviously with ambient lighting here. We have power operated seats for the second row, and they are heated, they are ventilated, power operated, and the same goes for the third row. The third row, you can recline the seat back, you can slide them forward and backwards, and they also heated. And so this is how much space you have if you have small children, if you have maybe not that tall adults. So everything is power operated. As you can see, it takes some time compared to manual adjustments, which maybe would have been easier and faster, but nonetheless, this is what you have. Grab handles, additional blind spot monitoring zone for the second row passengers. If there is a cyclist behind you, comes in handy. So for the second row, this is 3-zone climate control. This is your 3rd zone climate control operation unit. You have heated seats, ventilated seats for the second row passengers, individual air vents, everything is LED, and obviously you have household style outlet here, additional tray here, additional 100 watts charging ports for your mobile phones. Yeah, it's very nice. You have a suede Alcantara-like headliner, which is nice, and obviously you have power operated tailgate. So in terms of the creature comforts and different options, it's no different from a regular Palisade. So everything is motorized here. So this is the unit, so you can change whether they want to recline everything, and I forgot the word, guys. So put everything down, or you can put everything up. As you can see, you can slide them forward, backwards. Yeah, I completely forgot the word on how to recline. Anyways, you got me, guys. Sorry about that. So you can put them back up, or you can, again, forgot the word. But anyways, you got the point. So obviously 2 buttons, lock and close. And let's talk about pricing. So this is front-wheel drive, Palisade Calligraphy, top trim. The only option it's missing, it is all-wheel drive H-Track system. The price is $58,730. The car is being imported from Korea. It's not manufactured here stateside, so it's being imported. That's why probably tariffs, they made its job, they made its effect on the pricing. In terms of regular pricing for the hybrid, it starts from around $48,000-$50,000 all the way up to $60,000. So basically a fully loaded all-wheel drive Calligraphy, Palisade Hybrid Calligraphy will be around $60,000-$61,000, which is a lot. In terms of competition, obviously the first SUV that comes to my mind in terms of competition, this is Toyota Grand Highlander. If you're talking about large, not full size, but mid-size SUVs, unibody, we're not talking about Chevy Tahoe like body on frame vehicles, the Toyota Grand Highlander, Toyota Highlander, Honda Pilot, Honda Passport, they don't have hybrid options, unfortunately. So basically the only competitor would be Toyota Grand Highlander, and Lincoln Atlas. Lincoln Atlas is very close. It's also based on the 2-liter turbocharged engine plus a few electric motors with so-called eCVT. But here we have a classic standard conventional 6-speed automatic with torque converter, 2 electric motors, and let's see how it drives, how it stacks up against regular V6 Palisade. All right, 2026 Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. As I mentioned, this is the front-wheel drive. Thanks courtesy Hyundai here in Tampa for providing me with this new 2026 Palisade Hybrid. This is the front-wheel drive version, as I mentioned. There are a few available, including H-Track, which means all-wheel drive, but this specific tester is front-wheel drive. So we'll see how it does 0 to 60, actually 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. All right, we're in sport mode. 1, 2, 3.
60. 100.
All right, we've got 7.75, which is not bad. Especially considering this is front-wheel drive version. Obviously, if you have an H-Track version, all-wheel drive, this will completely mitigate this spin from the front wheels, and that's about it. But again, you're not buying this because of crazy acceleration. The difference, like my last tester, it did 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in about 9.2, 9.3. The best one was 9.1 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, which would be around 8.8, maybe 0 to 60. Again, for my Canadian viewers from Europe, I'm personally used to seeing 0 to 100 rather than 0 to 60, but again, we're here in the US, so 0 to 100 will take definitely a bit more time, because 0 to 60 is like 96 kilometers per hour, and 0 to 100, additional 4 kilometers, it takes like extra few tenths of seconds. So not a big deal. Again, you're not buying this vehicle just because of acceleration. Definitely it is faster, it feels happier for sure. Let's do it one more time. 0 to 100, front-wheel drive, sport mode.
60. 100.
7.8. And definitely because of the front-wheel drive version, you feel the torque steering. It is here, and you cannot do anything about this. So let's switch back to normal mode, to my drive. All right, aside from acceleration, which is obviously maybe 1 second, maybe 1.5 seconds quicker than purely gas-powered V6, I'd like to say that the reason you would buy this, first of all, fuel efficiency. So compared to the non-hybrid model, which gets around 20, maybe 21 miles per gallon on average, this will do around 28, 27 in real life conditions, which is significant difference from my standpoint. Number two, why would you buy this one, is additional torque. So having a pure gas engine gives you around 300, basically 260 pound-feet of torque, or 350 newton meters of torque. and to get that numbers you have to rev the engine all the way up to the red zone, to the limiter, and so obviously it doesn't contribute to a great fuel efficiency. Again, we're not talking about constantly driving like a crazy, but I'm just saying that to get the power, to squeeze the juice out of V6, you have to rev it up, while here in the hybrid model you don't have to do that, because the spread of the torque is evenly spread between like 1800 and 4500 RPMs. So this zone gives you, this rev range gives you the max torque available within the hybrid, which is 339 pound-feet of torque, which translates into 460 newton meters of torque, paired with 6-speed automatic. The automatic itself, combined with 2 electric motors housed in the 6-speed automatic, it definitely gives you this 4-cylinder vibe, so it's not very smooth. If you compare this with silky smooth V6 purely gas powered, definitely you will hear the notice. But where this vehicle makes up for that difference is when you're approaching a traffic light, a stop sign. Definitely this is where the electric engine only provides propulsion for the vehicle, which is great to have. And overall you feel this readiness to go in the hybrid model, obviously. So a very, very nice feeling, definitely. I think V6 is more smoother, and overall more, I would say more luxurious, provides more luxurious feeling to you. But definitely for your daily driving, commutes, for overtakes, you need to pass someone, you need to merge, whatever. So hybrid will definitely, just based on the numbers itself, even without driving the vehicle, which I highly recommend to drive it and compare it the V6 and this hybrid model, definitely. But even without that, just seeing the numbers, you will see extra torque, extra power available here. Moreover, it's not just more torque, it's torque that readily available earlier in the RPM range, which is great. So definitely better fuel economy, more torque, more power, this readiness to go. The suspension, it looks like Hyundai actually changed the suspension, revised at least, in terms of spring rates, definitely to accommodate additional weight. The difference between calligraphy all-wheel drive hybrid and non-hybrid calligraphy all-wheel drive, it's around 60-70 pounds. So maybe 30 kilograms, and definitely they revised the suspension, and I can feel that. It's get slightly firmer. I wouldn't say it's super harsh. No, it's still a very comfortable vehicle. It's super quiet on the inside, definitely, like no changes there. But you can feel that the not the transmission, but the suspension actually transmits a bit more information to the steering wheel, and you feel that. So possibly my suspicion is that they revised the spring rates, so they made them slightly stiffer just to accommodate that extra weight. Aside from that, it is very, very luxurious on the inside, and extra galvanic style, this silver style buttons and switches, definitely they add to the upscale feeling of this SUV. Again, if you're here in Florida, maybe you don't need all-wheel drive, but just for peace of mind, I would take all-wheel drive, because it's a clutch-based all-wheel drive. It's not like Audi Quattro, like real Quattro, old-time all-wheel drive. Definitely, it's not that. So the fuel efficiency drop will be negligible in this case, but this will provide you peace of mind, in inclement weather conditions, for example. That's just my opinion. Overall, it's a very pleasant place to be, definitely. In terms of brakes, this is where it gets interesting, because there is a regen function, obviously, because this is a hybrid, but the way conventional friction brakes work along with regen braking is kind of interesting, because definitely it helps save the friction brakes, and so you don't have to replace them every, let's say, 20-30,000 miles, for example, depending on your driving habits. So overall, I would say you have to get used to that, because the perception of how the SUV actually brakes is a bit different if you drove the gas V6 model. So you have to test both of these vehicles. So to be honest, there are quite a few differences between this gas-powered V6 Palisade and a hybrid Palisade in terms of how the vehicle feels and how it drives overall. So definitely I would highly recommend driving them both back to back to see like what you really like. So during the start from the traffic light, there is a slight delay. I have just experienced like very minor delay, and probably caused by this handoff of from the electric motors, two electric motors and the engine. So V6 actually starts a little bit better because of the displacement of 3.5 V6, so it naturally it provides a bit more response. On the flip side, you have to rev it up in order to get more power and torque. So from the standstill, yes, but if you're talking about high-speed driving, maybe, probably, this is where a hybrid actually wins, just because it provides more torque available in a wider range of RPMs. So that's about it, guys, in terms of the test drive. Let's sum it up. First of all, 0 to 100 in terms of acceleration. This is not the main point of this vehicle, obviously, but a lot of people, they're curious, like how it does, how it stacks up against the V6 Palisade. So V6 in my previous video, it reached 100 kilometers per hour in 9.1, 9.2 seconds. 9.1 was the best result I got. This one got 7.7, the best one here. So the difference is around 1.5 seconds. Again, I'm talking about 0 to 100, which is translated into miles will be 0 to 62 miles. The proper acceleration, which I'm used to seeing like as a person coming from a European country, but nonetheless, you get the point. It is faster, it's quicker. Number two, it is more responsive. Definitely, you feel the power, you feel the torque, and because of the torque, which is available between 18 and 4,500 RPMs, you don't have to rev the engine all the way up to the red zone, and that's why it hurts fuel economy. In the V6 models here, it is much better. A few quirks of the hybrid engine. First of all, because of a regular transmission, when you come to a stop at the traffic light, maybe stop sign, and then you abruptly accelerate, for example, the traffic light turned green, or whatever the situation could be, and then you stomp on the pedal, there is a 1 second, like a significantly a noticeable delay between when you stomp on the pedal when you accelerate and between when the SUV actually accelerates. After that, obviously, you get a lot of torque, and it's very responsive. But in this situation, during the handoff from the electric propulsion, because when you approach and when you're coasting to the light, you see there is a red light in 500 feet or whatever, and obviously you release the gas pedal, and this is where electric part kicks in, and then after that abruptly green light turns on, and then you stomp on the pedal, and this is during the handoff. So basically what I'm saying is the handoff, it's not the best, it's not the smoothest. Like Toyota does it much better in terms of this transition between electric mode and between a hybrid mode. It's not a full electric vehicle, it's not a plug-in hybrid, you cannot recharge the battery, it does it automatically from the ICE engine. But the technology behind that is completely different if we are talking about Toyota and Honda comparison. So again, riding comfort, it's a bit firmer, I would say, because of revised spring rates, possibly, and dampers. Unfortunately, no adaptive dampers for this price, and the price 60K, it's a lot, I would say. So yeah, riding comfort is not bad. It's super quiet, it's ultra quiet on the inside. The riding comfort is not bad. It's definitely a little bit firmer. So V6 to me personally is more softly shrunk in terms of ultimate softness of the suspension. So again, guys, it's up to you whether to buy this one or V6 and non-hybrid. I'm just saying what I think. I'm just sharing my impressions of this, the first impression of the Palisade Hybrid. Let me know in the comment section, guys. Please subscribe to this channel. If you like this video, hit the like button, leave me a comment, drop me a comment whether you buy this one over Toyota or vice versa, or maybe something else. Maybe just, you know, gas-powered Palisade just to save some money. Again, thanks for watching and see you next time.